Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with the DRF race of the day for Thursday, September the 8th. It's race number 9 at Kentucky Downs, the $500,000 Global Tote Juvenile Sprint. We're going 6.5 furlongs for 2-year-olds over the European-style turf course at Kentucky Downs. I'll be back with a full preview after this brief message.
Want to view free Formulator past performances for this race? Head to the Race of the Day page at DRF.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel and bet this card with DRF Bets.
Here's the field for the $500,000 Juvenile Sprint, race number 9 at Kentucky Downs. Strong field of 8 in here. Please scan the QR code for Race of the Day access on your mobile devices. 2, Sharp as Attack, looks like the horse to catch and beat for Doug O'Neill and Arad Ortiz. I disagree slightly with the Timeform US pace projector. I do think this pace is going to be fast. And while the number 8, Half a Chance, has shown big speed in his first 2 starts, Sharp as Attack is stretching out from 5/8 to 6.5. He has shown huge speed in both of his races, and he's looked good in both of them as well. I think they're not going to take away his speed in here. Arad Ortiz picks up the mount for the first time, and I think he's on ascend. I do think Half a Chance is going to be close to the pace as well. Bourbon Therapy has shown speed from the inside. Maybe Bourbon Spirit this time around, the number 3, is going to be rated off the pace, sort of like his career debut, going 5.5 on dirt. Let's begin the analysis with the number 1, Bourbon Therapy, and we're going to watch his most recent race at Indiana on June the 27th at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. And Bourbon Therapy showed good speed in this 5/8 of a mile maiden special weight. He keeps to his business despite drifting out a bit in the stretch, and he's able to win comfortably. After that race, he went through the auction ring, and he was purchased for $40,000 at Facig-Tipton, and he's now in the Michael Maker barn. And as we say all the time here on DRFTV, whether it's a race of the day or a stakes preview, keep an eye on any new acquisition that moves into the Maker barn. It's usually via the claim. This horse via a public purchase. Bourbon Therapy has speed, goes first-time Maker, and likely to work out a decent trip. I'm not concerned about this horse stretching out to 6.5 furlongs. I believe there is enough stamina in the pedigree. The 2 is Sharp as Attack. Doug O'Neill, Arad Ortiz, debut winner going 5/8 at Santa Anita in gate-to-wire fashion, and then he just dominated this group in the Tyro at Monmouth on July the 30th. He just showed this field his heels from the start as the favorite, turns into the stretch, and pours it on. He earned a big 85 Beyer speed figure for a 2-year-old second-time starter. My one concern is the quality of the horses he faced that day. 4 horses have come back from the Tyro to run. None of them have hit the board, and the best Beyer speed figure of the 4, only a 55. I think this is a tougher group for Sharp as Attack. He's going to have to stretch out from 5 to 6.5 while likely facing some pace pressure from the outside horse. This turf course, I think, also plays a little bit longer with its dips and turns. This 6.5 might play more like 7 furlongs, so it's a pretty substantial stretch out in distance for Sharp as Attack, and I also believe he's stepping up in class, but he's done nothing wrong in his short career. The 3 is Bourbon Spirit, a horse that's going to be making his turf debut for Brad Cox and Florent Giroux. This colt's by Liam's Map, who scores with 9% of his first-time turf runners. Looking at the female family, it's mostly dirt. This is the Rags to Riches and Jazzle family, the horses that dominated the Belmont Stakes several years ago. This horse looked good in his career debut, going 5.5 over muddy going at Ellis Park, rallying from off the pace to score. They stretched him out in the sapling, going 2 turns on dirt last time out, and he ran just fine. He showed much improved speed. He was involved in a little bit of a pace skirmish, and he ended up finishing second to a pretty good Todd Pletcher-trained 2-year-old named Lost Ark. This horse is going to have to prove his mettle on the turf. I like him cutting back from a mile to 6.5 furlongs in this race, and I think he'll rate off a solid pace. It wouldn't be a surprise for top connections at what should be a solid price. The number 4 is Fade the Noise, who won at Ellis Park on turf 2 starts back, and then they tried him in the Skidmore Stakes last time out at Saratoga. Sort of was even around the track that day. He finished 6th for Maker, a 58 Beyer speed figure. He's just going to have to improve a little bit from a Beyer standpoint if he's going to take this field down. Now, he won 2 starts back in pace-pressing fashion. I don't believe he's fast enough to contest the pace, and that might be his preferred running style. The 5 is Private Creed, getting blinkers for the first time for Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario. Let's watch his race in the Skidmore. This is the race where Fade the Noise finished 6th. Private Creed finished 3rd, and he got into a little bit of traffic in this race. This race coming off the heels of a debut victory on turf at Ellis Park on July the 30th. I like this horse's tactical speed. I think the blinkers will give him a little bit more focus and maybe infuse a little bit more tactical speed. With these connections, you know he's going to get bet. Rosario and Asmussen, but 2 races, 266 buyers, he can certainly build off that. Accident is the number 6, and we're going to watch his turf debut at Ellis last time out. A maiden special weight, and already his 5th lifetime start. He's going to finish 3rd in this race, but there just wasn't a ton of pace for him to run at. In this 5.5 furlong dash, they went the half in 44-2. Accident was sort of sitting in mid-pack behind a horse that went gate to wire. He is still a maiden, taking a big step up in class, and he obviously has to do a little bit more than his most recent start. The number 7 is Revere Note, and this horse really improved in his most recent race, and maybe it was simply the competition. He shipped to Belterra Park for the first time, and he showed way more early speed than he did in his prior races at Horseshoe Indianapolis, and at Keeneland, and at Ellis Park. He went right to the front. He won this race very easily at 9-1. It's worth noting he was the only experienced horse in this race, and I think that gave him a big edge. He won that race in gate-to-wire fashion. He's not making the lead here. The 8 is Half a Chance. Half a Chance made his career debut at Belmont Park, and we're going to watch that race right now. This is a 5/8 of a mile dash for trainer Wesley Ward, and it's somewhat surprising that for a Wesley Ward trained first-time starter, he was only 5-1 in his career debut. He showed good speed. He set a rated pace. There was no excuses. He finished 2nd that day. He just got beat. They ran him on dirt last time out. No surprise considering this horse's pedigree. His sire Flatter just does better with dirt horses. There's a lot of dirt on the bottom of this pedigree as well. And Half a Chance ran very well despite stumbling from the inside post. He righted the ship, he rushed up to make the lead, and he held sway in the stretch. It was a likable performance for a horse that ran a pretty fast race in his debut. A 74 buyer for an early June 2-year-old. That's pretty good, even if it's not really his surface. Now he's back on turf. You can't pass up this kind of money when you have a promising 2-year-old. Wesley Ward has been working this horse nicely at Keeneland leading up to this race. And I think even though he's stretching out for the first time, I think that he has enough speed to sit just off the leader, harassing that horse, and he might be in front when the field turns into the stretch. He's a very interesting contender for Johnny Velasquez and Wesley Ward. Before we get to my top selection, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRFTV video offerings. Top pick time for the Thursday race of the day, the Juvenile Sprint. I want to give Half a Chance one more chance on turf. He has more of a dirt pedigree. That concerns me, but he ran well enough in his turf debut with a solid and respectable figure that I think he can still step on the turf, and I think he'll be sitting just off the favorite turning into the stretch. We're going to find out how good the Too Sharp as Attack is as he looks for his 3rd consecutive victory, 2nd consecutive stakes victory, but he's going to have to stretch out facing tougher competition. I went 8-2-5-4 in the Thursday race of the day. Good luck.